What if I told you that one of the most iconic leaders in history, the man who stared down Adolf Hitler, was simultaneously fighting a silent war within his own mind? This is the untold story of Winston Churchill's battle with depression, his black dog, and how it shaped the course of modern history. Before we begin, subscribe to Neurocryptic for more deep dives into psychology, history, and human behavior. Let's get into it. Winston Churchill is widely remembered as the Bulldog of Britain, a wartime prime minister, a stirring orator, a symbol of defiance against tyranny. But beneath the public image of grit and firepower was a man wrestling with darkness. Throughout his life, Churchill referred to a persistent depression he called his black dog. It followed him through his greatest speeches and lingered after his most triumphant victories. The term black dog was not invented by Churchill. It's been used since antiquity, including by the Roman poet Horace. But Churchill's use of it gave the metaphor global significance. Behind closed doors, he was plagued by insomnia, fatigue, and mood crashes. Despite his legendary resilience, Churchill often experienced emotional collapses, even in moments of apparent triumph. And yet, he kept going. Churchill's psychological struggle didn't start in adulthood. His childhood set the stage. Born in 1874 to Lord Randolph Churchill and Jenny Jerome, Winston grew up in a world of cold aristocracy. His father was emotionally distant and dismissive. His mother was beautiful, charming, but largely absent. He was often left in the care of a nanny, whom he loved deeply. But when she died, the boy was emotionally adrift. At boarding school, Churchill was often lonely, bullied, and misunderstood. He longed for affection from his parents, particularly his father, who frequently berated him for being a failure. Rejection, neglect, emotional isolation. These early traumas laid the foundation for what modern psychologists might describe as attachment insecurity, a psychological wound that festers throughout life. Churchill's depression wasn't episodic. It was cyclical and constant. Biographers note that he would often go through deep slumps, retreating into silence, staring at walls, unable to write, even fearing for his life. But what made Churchill unique was not the presence of depression. It was his relationship with it. He didn't deny it. He named it, faced it, even learned to live with it. He said, "I have achieved a great deal to escape annihilation, and have managed to conceal this tale behind a mask of energy and optimism." This is a psychological principle known today as functional depression, where individuals maintain high performance despite internal suffering. But even then, Churchill recognized the danger. He admitted suicidal thoughts, standing too close to train tracks, obsessing over firearms, needing to have all dangerous objects hidden when in a low state. This wasn't just sadness, it was severe clinical depression. During World War II, Churchill carried the weight of a nation on his shoulders. Imagine this: cities burning, allies falling, the threat of Nazi invasion looming, and the man at the helm is barely holding himself together. Churchill often worked through the night, drank heavily, and smoked endlessly. His doctor, Lord Moran, documented his patient's psychological state meticulously. He noticed Churchill could swing between manic energy and depressive torpor, leading some modern psychologists to suggest that Churchill may have had bipolar tendencies. But he also possessed remarkable psychological traits: resilience, vision, courage, and a powerful sense of moral duty. In psychology, this trait is called existential responsibility, a belief that one's life must mean something beyond oneself. Churchill believed his suffering was a price he paid to serve history. He said, "To each his own cross." Interestingly, Churchill developed coping strategies that modern psychology would admire. He practiced structured daily routines. He napped religiously, painted landscapes, and wrote prolifically. Art, in particular, became his therapy. In his darkest hours, Churchill would take up a brush and find solace in color and form. In 1911, after a nervous breakdown, he was encouraged by his doctor to take up painting. He later said, "Painting is complete as a distraction. I know of nothing which, without exhausting the body, more entirely absorbs the mind." He also turned to writing, publishing over 10 million words across books, memoirs, and essays, many of them completed during depressive episodes. Churchill's life teaches us a profound truth. Creativity is a lifeline. Psychologists today study Churchill as an example of transformational leadership. He did not just lead with policies, he led with emotion, resilience, and moral conviction. His speeches were infused with psychological insight. He knew how to awaken courage, how to address fear, how to make people feel they mattered. Even while battling his own despair, he lifted the spirits of millions. That's not madness. That's mastery. He once said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Churchill's story matters more now than ever. In an age of rising mental health challenges, particularly among leaders, high achievers, and creatives, we need to reframe the narrative. Mental illness does not mean weakness. Struggling internally does not disqualify you from doing great things. Winston Churchill, flawed and fragile, led the free world through catastrophe. Not despite his depression, but in many ways, because of how he wrestled with it. His vulnerability gave him insight. His suffering gave him empathy. His darkness gave rise to light. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, crushed by your own black dog, remember Churchill. You are not alone in your struggle, and your pain does not mean your story is over. If you found this video powerful, subscribe to Neurocryptic for more gripping stories at the intersection of psychology and history. Tap the bell icon to never miss a deep dive. Leave a comment. What part of Churchill's inner battle moved you the most? And remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply to keep going.